Halinka Previtt is a professional coach, author, and the creator of The Happy and Healthy Place. As a professional coach, Halinka helps her professionals skyrocket their life purpose and passion in their health, relationships, and career. Halinka's first book, Vulnerably Authentic, was published in September 2022.
I think we forget to put pen to paper because we are living in such a digital world. And the reality is that as we engage in this digital world, which has a lot of benefits, it's so fast, right? Like think about your phone, right? Of how quickly we actually swipe through everything. Even videos now are 7 seconds instead of the 1 minute that they were just a year ago. And really the reality is the faster that we are in the digital world, the less we engage with the information. I'm fully guilty. I think right now I have over 20 tabs open on my computer, right? Or how often do we watch Netflix while actually scrolling through Instagram or actually watching TikTok videos at the same time? And the quicker that we're actually engaging in the digital world, the less we engage with the information, the less we absorb the information, and the more numb that we actually become. And because of this speed and because of this disconnect we're having with this numbness, it actually leads to a section of being more overwhelmed. So one of the ways to actually kind of counterbalance that is bringing pen to paper. Right? When we bring pen to paper, now, and when I actually say this, I mean pen to paper and not typing out notes. Okay, because pen to paper actually allows us to slow down. It allows us to actually engage with the information. And studies have actually shown that it increases mental awareness. It increases awareness of the information. It allows us to actually be in tune with it and to memorize it. We absorb the information more when we have pen to paper than we do actually with a digital realm, right? One of the things also when we actually put pen to paper, it allows us to actually process our thoughts, right? It allows us to actually engage with it, pay attention to it, etc. I'm going to use an example of actually this, right? Of actually talking to you about overcoming overwhelm. I myself got caught up in the exact same thing as I was preparing for this and I was creating my notes. I had typed up all sort of the thoughts that I actually wanted to do and everything that I wanted to share the information of that I thought was going to be important. And as I was reading the paper that I was actually creating from this digital world that was really efficient, none of it was actually sticking. And taking the time to slow it down and just literally writing point form of what's actually happening was allowing it to actually really make sense, really engage with it, and really feel grounded with the information. Same thing's going to happen with your grocery list or your to-do list. Right? How often do you actually forget what you need while you're in the grocery store or forget your priorities of what you need to do? Studies have shown if you actually write down the tasks or what you need from the grocery store, even if you don't have that list in front of you, you're more likely going to remember what you need to do, remember what you need to buy, than actually not writing it at all or writing it in a digital space. So there's a lot, so digital world, let's just actually put this out there. Digital world is fabulous, right? There are so many benefits that we actually have from the digital world. And there's a lot of apps that we actually engage with on our phone that actually do enhance our life, right? I have a meditation app on my phone called Calm, which is really these beautiful 11-minute meditations that help you guide through it so that no matter where you are, you actually have a guided meditation with you. And so if it's not a matter of saying that those apps don't work, it's just saying that the reality is that in order to deal with overwhelm and stress, in order to really process our thoughts, in order to really engage with the information, we know, and studies have shown that writing pen and paper is actually going to absorb the information, allowing you to slow down versus actually using a digital space. I have this term called monkey brain, and it is a term that I have created. I haven't seen anywhere else, so it definitely is a Halinka-ism. But monkey brain I use as a sort of example to describe sort of that chaos that we have in our brain, right? you start getting overwhelmed and you start getting stressed, and then your thoughts just start getting spinning and spinning and spinning. And the reason why I use the term monkey brains is not because I have anything against monkeys, but I have this image of like all of a sudden they're like jumping up and down constantly, and they're literally jumping from tree limb to tree limb, and they're constantly moving, and they're throwing poop at each other, and it's just this constant chaos. And even as I'm saying it, I can catch myself and my breath actually moving in this sort of quickened state. So one of the things when we're overcoming overwhelm is we want to calm that monkey brain, right? Because being able to calm that monkey brain and to be able to process our own thoughts is going to be one of the tools that we have so we don't have to live in a constant state of chaos. My favorite tool for calming monkey brain is a journaling exercise called the brain dump. Okay, so what you're going to do for this exercise is you need to take pen to paper, because we know we absorb the information, we know we slow down when we're writing pen to paper, and you are going to write down every single thought you have. The reason why this is so important is when we're in that monkey brain state and we're in that constant state of overwhelm, you're going to have these thoughts in your head that seem never ending. Whether it's challenges for a specific thing that you're actually dealing with, you're going to think that the problems are always going to be there, right? There's never going to be a solution, that your to-do list is never ending, that the priority list is never ending, that there's no way ever you're going to be able to find solutions for that. And that's going to happen because your brain is constantly processing that information on a constant loop, so there's never actually an ending point. So your brain dump exercise is you take pen to paper, you're going to list every single thing that's actually happening in your brain, okay? What is going to happen is as you're writing it down on paper, you're actually transitioning it from this constant fluttering thought in your brain to being able to see it completely on a piece of paper so that you're able to process it, you're able to engage with that thought. And the beautiful thing is you're able to assess, is that thought even true or not? Now, your brain's going to tell you there's not going to be an end to this, but I promise you that as you write down every single thought, every single concern, or every single thing that you need to do, there will be an end. There will be a point where you don't actually have anything else to write. Once you actually get all those thoughts out of your head and get them written down, you're able to actually engage with that information. You're able to assess that information and come up with a plan. Like I mentioned before, you're actually going to be able to read some of those things and actually say, like, none of this is actually true. Crossing that thought off, so you're able to only focus on the things that are actually really, really important. It allows you to actually create priorities, so you're able to choose to do things that are going to actually enhance your life, both physically, mentally, emotionally, allow you to actually live a thriving life, versus feeling that you're constantly having to do things that are creating this constant chaos state of overwhelm. Julia Cameron is a brilliant writer who actually wrote The Artist's Way. It's a book. And really the book is there, and her whole method is to create these morning pages. So the goal is every single morning you wake up, you grab a journal, and you write 3 pages of what we call a stream of consciousness thought. So you're going to write whatever is in your head on this piece of paper, and you may be thinking, well, I don't have anything to write. And so you're going to actually write, I don't have anything to write. I'm really tired. You know what I mean? I don't know why I'm doing this. This actually seems ridiculous. And what it's actually been shown to do is as you actually engage in those morning pages, you're decluttering the thoughts in your head and getting them out of your head onto paper, so that you're able to create more room in your head to be more creative, more logical, engage in information, and you've started your morning really in this sort of slow, nurturing, self-care state. Now, although it's called The Artist's Way, and she actually uses it for artists, artists are able to use it to be able to be more creative. But she's also found that really using it, no matter what your profession is, you're able to actually declutter the mind, get rid of that monkey brain, so you're able to be more efficient and productive with whatever you're actually looking to do that day. First of all, let's actually talk about sort of the limiting beliefs, or sort of what we have writing looks like in our head. And I was guilty of this when I was writing my first book, Vulnerably Authentic. I had this image in my head that I had to put myself into the woods, into a cabin, and only wear wool cardigans. And, I was going to write the whole thing from beginning to end, knowing every step of the way. And the reality is that is not how it works. So one of the things to actually go with writing is to realize that you're actually always writing, right? While we're engaging in conversations with loved ones, right? That actually becomes, and that conversation can lead to a thought, can lead to an idea, can lead to that sort of thing that you actually want to express more in writing. Right? As you're going for walks and you're actually kind of going through this walking meditation, and a new actually thing comes up, or you're engaging in the environment, you're really able to actually notice that environment from all your senses. And the only difference between that and writing is actually putting pen to paper and really sharing that information and being able to get it down so that you can actually visually see it in a different environment. One of the things that we think about writing is that it has to actually be writing, and it doesn't actually have to be the case. Like, there's actually voice recorders now that you actually can dictate voice to writing if something like writing is not your idea. And so, yeah, just know that really you're always writing. The ideas that you actually have are always brilliant. Now, you may say to me, Halinka, my ideas are not brilliant. And here's the thing is that's where doing the monkey brain dump, and as well as doing things like the artist's way, as you write down those ideas, and actually as you start putting pen to paper and just decluttering your mind, the brilliant ideas are actually going to come. Okay. So some of the writings may just be for you, right? There was lots of things that I wrote when I was writing Vulnerably Authentic that I truly thought were going to be a part of the book. But at the end of the day, it was just something that I needed to write for my own healing, or for my own story, or to be able to get and process myself. That was so incredibly personal, right? And so just to know that everything that you write doesn't always have to be shared, and some of the things are actually going to be written literally just for you. So the only difference in the process of journaling for yourself, or journaling and writing to publish, whether it's a book or a blog, or anything that you want to do that way, is the goal of sharing the information. That's it. Really, a lot of the concepts that came up for my book, Vulnerably Authentic, were there because of old journals that I have written for 20 years, things that I processed, tools that I've actually tried. And the only difference that actually happened between the two was really I was ready to share the information. If you do have a goal of publishing, writing your own book, writing your own blog, one of the brilliant things is you don't have to have the whole story in your head. You don't have to have the whole concept. Just start writing. The other thing to kind of keep in mind is that your book and your content is going to take some time. So give yourself permission to write in these 20, 30-minute segments, and doing that consistently will all of a sudden create the book. So a lot of times you're not going to go away for a week. You're not going to sit with a journal or your computer and bang the whole thing out. It's actually going to be done in these little small segments that you're just doing over time. I think we have to redefine what art is, right? So often we have this concept that art is in a museum, right? That art is really this medium, that it is paint, it is drawing, it is something that you actually get to really sort of see externally. And what we're able to really do is refine art as something that you get to engage with. Something that's actually going to elicit an emotional response, elicit a thought response, elicit a question that all of a sudden you're asking yourself. And so when we kind of take that new definition, writing really becomes a new art form. Think of music, right? We would say music is art, but all music is words being attached to a sound, which is really no different than, the only difference is the sound versus actually words that you're reading in a book. One of my favorite things about words, and if you look at any of my old journals, or if you look at any of the books that I've even read, is so often I'll take time to underline sentences or underline words. And sometimes that's done because I love the concept, right? There's sort of this idea of like, oh, I really want to remember what they're actually saying there. But so often it's because that sentence structure or that word or how they described something was just so incredibly brilliant that it really starts to hit on you on a whole different emotional, whole different level, where you do get that goosebumps, the same as if you're actually standing in front of a painting that's actually eliciting that same emotion. So really, as we kind of reframe that definition of art, words are an expression. So whether you're doing it for yourself, like sketching in a sketchbook by yourself, or you're writing your thoughts in a journal, or sharing a painting in a museum, or actually sharing a published piece of work, whether it's a book or a blog post there. Your story needs to be heard. There's someone out there right now that is praying for your story to be shared. And that story that you have in your heart and in your soul and in your body, that's what you're going to write. Taking the approach of writing the story that you needed to read during that time of healing, during that time and that experience, whatever the case may be, that's where you're actually going to start from, because that's how you're going to connect with people. So journaling is so beautiful, and writing is so beautiful, and I think it's something that we think that only kids should do, or something that we did in school. Now, one of the things that a lot of clients tell me is they're hesitant to write down their thoughts because they don't want to see it, or they don't want someone else to accidentally stumble upon it. So what I recommend in those situations, which may sound so incredibly funny, is two different things to keep in mind. One, as you're writing, the goal of writing is to process that monkey brain, to process your thoughts so that you're able to engage in the information. If it is something that you don't really like, you're scared for someone to see, write it on a piece of paper, burn it, rip it, throw it in the garbage. Just because you put the pen to paper doesn't mean you have to keep that information. The second thing, maybe it's something that you actually do want to journal, but it's something you're hesitant to do and you don't really like doing. Purchase the most beautiful journal or planner that you've ever seen. Really, because the reality is, get a pen that you actually really like. And you know what I'm talking about, right? Everybody has that pen where it has a nice weight and it writes well and it doesn't sort of smudge all over the place. Everyone has their sort of personal one that they want to get to, but take a moment to actually invest in a place that you're going to write and the tools that you're going to use, because if you actually like your tools, the more likely you are going to be able to use it. So thanks for tuning in, for watching this episode. More episodes are actually coming, and you can join us for next week. And if you want some more information, please join me at thehappyandhealthyplace.com.